Hey everyone, my name's Tony. This is my microbe presentation, and today I'll be talking about Yersinia pestis. It is a tiny microbe that has changed human history in massive ways. It is the bacterium behind the Black Death, and it's still alive and circulating around our world today. So, an overview for Yersinia pestis is that it is a gram-negative, facultative anaerobic coccobacillus that lives in rodents and gets spread by fleas. Now, a cool fact about it is scientists extracted its DNA from skeletons over 1,500 years old and confirmed it caused the Justinian plague, one of the earliest known pandemics. It evolved from a much milder gut bacterium, and through a few genetic changes, it had become one of the most dangerous microbes we have ever seen or encountered. And it is still out there, especially in places like Arizona, New Mexico, and Madagascar. Now, this is a plague that changed history. It is well known as the Black Death, and it hit Europe in the 14th century. It killed up to 60% of the population, and that's around 50 million people. Um, Entire towns vanished. So many workers died that feudalism started to break down and people demanded wages. And on top of that, Jewish communities were scapegoated and attacked, wrongly blamed for poisoning wells in the area. The church also lost major influence as people searched for answers and turned to superstition. This is one of the most disruptive events in history, not just medically, but socially and culturally. Now, what is Yersinia pestis? Yersinia pestis is part of the Enterobacteriaceae family. It didn't start as a killer. It evolved from Yersinia pseudotuberculosis just 5,000 to 7,000 years ago. It acquired three plasmids that helped it survive and spread, which was PCD1, which lets it inject toxins. The next one's PMT1, which helps it survive in fleas. And then PPCP1, which helps it spread through the human body. Acquiring these key genetic elements allowed it to survive in fleas and infect mammalian hosts, causing it to spread rapidly at the time. So there has been multiple historical pandemics and many iterations of this plague. And the first one being the pandemic that was in the Justinian period in the 6th century. Let's see. Scientists excavated teeth from Aschheim, Germany, and it revealed DNA of Yersinia pestis, proving it was the causative agent, and that strain, however, is now extinct. The Black Death came later in 1347, and it hit Europe like a freight train. The disease spread via trade routes caused by fleas on rats. Cities were wiped out before anyone knew what was going on. And, yeah. Now, the forms of the plague have three iterations, and I have a chart to the right that shows them. The first being the bubonic plague, the classic one, causes painful swollen lymph nodes called buboes. The next is the septicemic plague, which spreads through the bloodstream, causing skin and tissue death. And the third is the pneumonic plague, which infects the lungs and is the most contagious and fatal form. It spreads through coughing and can wipe out entire communities. So, how infection happens. To the right, I have a chart, and it shows or depicts the transmission of various ways it gets into the human body. And then below that is another chart. So what happens is rodents are infected with Yersinia pestis, which are then bit by fleas, and then those fleas go and bite humans. So fleas are the main delivery system, which bite infected rodents. Then the fleas bite humans, transmitting this, and in turn the bacteria enters into our bloodstream. Now, in pneumonic cases, it can spread person to person through droplets. Once inside, Yersinia pestis hides in our immune system, or immune cells, and it replicates rapidly and overwhelms our defenses. Now, fun fact, it only takes a few bacteria to start an infection, making it very efficient. So now on to the modern relevance of Yersinia pestis. Now I have a chart which shows outbreaks in 2017 listed in red, and then outbreaks in the 21st century, as well as where Yersinia pestis is still very current, where I'm hovering over. And some of it's in the western part of our country. So the plague still exists mostly in rural parts of Africa and the southwestern U.S., even though fewer than a dozen U.S. cases pop up every year. It's serious enough that researchers stay on alert. Scientists at Northern Arizona University use DNA tracking tools to monitor outbreaks and trace them back to rodent colonies. And the scary part is about this is the Soviet Union once tried to weaponize Yersinia pestis as an aerosol bioweapon, and it's still a biosecurity concern even today. Now, I figured I'd end this with some interesting facts. The plague isn't just a historical killer. It's been weaponized, as I previously mentioned. In the 1300s, Mongols catapulted plague-infected bodies into cities. Centuries later, the Soviet Union worked on aerosolized Yersinia pestis for biowarfare. Even today, the plague is still a concern in global biosecurity due to its high fatality rate and potential for airborne spread. Now, some interesting facts or notes here. So in the middle picture I have there is a plague doctor, and did plague doctors help in those times? And the answer is no. Those bird masks were stuffed with herbs and weren't even trained doctors. Was the plague caused by bad air? Common belief back in times. People thought so. It was called the miasma theory, but we know now fleas and Yersinia pestis were the real killers. And is it gone for good? Not even close. It's still active in rodents and prairie dogs, actually, especially in Arizona and Madagascar. And a fun fact at the end, this superbug started out as a harmless gut bacterium. Now it's one of the most notorious killers in history. And now to end the presentation, here are my references, and yeah, thanks for watching.